We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is a Wednesday, and usually this would be the show where we talk about all the biggest news stories from the week in professional wrestling, but instead we are talking about AEW Dynamite because it was a day early this week. It was Title Tuesday, and there is certainly a lot to talk about. But before we get into it all, I have to introduce today's panel, and let's kick things off with the guy who, as I always say, does probably the most podcasts in professional wrestling. How are you today, Clark Taylor?
I'm a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest. Honestly, our backs are against the wall, the Cubs, in this baseball game. I'm excited to break down Dynamite. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It happened on a Tuesday, so I didn't know what it meant until I saw the schedule last night. Then I did, so I had to figure that out. But the Cubbies after this, we're going to break down last night's Dynamite. We got all kinds of good wrestling to talk about, but the answer to your initial question, Ben, is I am nervous. Let's get into the show.
Absolutely. And we've got DCX Warlord not happy that there's no Mount Rushmore. Well, we did one, I think it was last Friday, and we are going to be doing one tomorrow. So Don't worry about that, DCX Warlord. But also we have Fernando in the chat saying it's time to light the fuse and ignite this Dynamite review. But also joining us today, we have Dez, who's covered in all AEW gear. How are you, Dez?
I'm doing good. As you can see, I'm repping the sickos. Unfortunately, I am on the IR. I've been wrestling content because I have got an oblique injury, but it doesn't matter. Rain, shine, injury or not, we're still here because it's time to discuss AEW Dynamite.
Dez has had a few, I'd say reoccurring injuries, but not even reoccurring. You've just been in the wars lately, Dez.
I know. Yeah. We are in some tough heat, but it doesn't matter. We're still here. We're rocking and rolling.
You're making it through. You're taking it. And you're carrying on going. But up first, guys, we need to talk about the AEW Championship. We have to talk about Hangman Adam Page because, as we all know, last week, him and Samoa Joe got into it. This week, they met face to face. Hangman said the reason he's given Joe a title shot is not because of what happened last week, but instead because he has respect for him and he feels he owes him one after he helped him win that championship off Jon Moxley at, All In a few weeks ago. But I'm going to be honest, guys, I have a big issue with this, right? Because Samoa Joe, in that build-up, kept saying to Hangman that he wanted to help him, that he was that guy, and all of this. And now suddenly we are ignoring all of that. He's saying that Hangman's not the guy, and in fact he was only trying to stop the Death Riders. And to me, it feels like this is all very rushed. This is all not really thought out. And worse than that, this kind of just feels like, to me, they've realized they don't have enough top heels right now to actually put against Hangman Page. So now they're just trying to not even turn baby faces heel, but try and get faces to temporarily act like heels, so at least Hangman will have somebody to face. Don't get me mistaken, I'm excited for this match, but this build, massive thumbs down from me. I can't get my head around it, Clark, at all.
Actually, I slightly disagree here, Ben. I get the logic, and knowing Samoa Joe over the course of his entire career, it does make sense. Samoa Joe will go through phases where he's the affable Samoa Joe. We've seen him on commentary. We've seen him as a babyface. We've seen him in those roles. When Samoa Joe is the Samoan submission machine, he's as vindictive and as vile as anybody. And the snapping on a dime, at least it is Samoa Joe and not someone else. I would be more inclined to complain about this, Ben, and I'd be more on the exact same wavelength. I do hear where you're coming from, though, right? If it was somebody else. Samoa Joe, I'm cool with being the vindictive. I was wrong. Of course, I helped you out. You wouldn't be here without me, and I was wrong. And now you have to face the real Samoa Joe, and I'm going to choke you out. I'm cool with that for the build. Does it feel a little bit rushed? That's where I'm in agreement with you. I wish it happened a little bit slower. I wish it was teased along the way. Joe sort of dropped some nuggets the last few weeks about this sort of turn and this sort of change in attitude when it comes to that, to allow for the ops to also match that. Because the ops are still a factor here. They shouldn't be a factor in this match, and I don't think they will be, which is ironic. That might be my biggest complaint personally, Ben, but that's where I'm at on this one.
But not only that, but the ops are also a babyface faction currently feuding against heels, which just makes this even more complicated.
That's my point about dropping some nuggets earlier so that organically all could turn. And I don't think there would be a problem with that. I don't think there would be an issue with that, especially with Hook changing music, especially with all the other things that we've seen. I get that. I get that. But at the same time,
long gone.
You could have Hook as a return here to do some shenanigans or something. You never know.
I'd have actually had them turn heel on Hook a month ago and then done this story, to be honest with you, if that was going to be the case.
In the interest of fairness, that's fair.
In the interest of fairness, Fernando in the chat says, agree 100%. This story feels rushed and clunky. I don't understand the beef between the two right after tagging together last week. Exactly, Fernando. I can't get my head around it, but can you, Des?
Not really, but I understand your guys' point, right? Because they're friends, they're a tag team together, but like it kind of works in a way because it's Samoa Joe, right? Samoa Joe, he's a great good guy, he's a great bad guy, he's a great plug and play type of wrestler, right? You need him to play a bad guy, he's going to play the bad guy. Need him to play the good guy, he'll play the good guy, no matter what. Joe is always going to look for that championship, right? They did something similar with like him and MJF, right? Where they had a little bit of a tag team for a while, and then Joe went for the AEW championship. So I understand why they're going this route, but I agree with you, Ben. There is kind of a lack of heels right now in AEW, right? Someone that can really put Hangman to the test. Outside of Don Cal's family, right? But they're busy right now because Takeshita and Okada, they're a tag team right now, and with Don Cal's family. And Kyle Fletcher, he's a TNT champion. He just recently faced Hangman Adam Page. MJF, he's taking time off. So I get where you're coming from. I think Joe works for this scenario. I do kind of wish the build was better, but I feel like the match will still be really good, though.
100% when it comes to the match, that is going to be a banger. There is no doubt about that. It's just how we've gotten there. It kind of just... To me, I'm not really a fan of it at all. And we got Soul in the comments. Shout out to you. He's saying that he wants to see Pac versus Hangman at Full Gear. I'd have loved to see that. Not anymore, though. It's a month away and he lost in the main event in Dynamite.
Oh, yeah,
well,
that's true.
That's a very good point, but I'd still like to see it on paper. Can we pretend that didn't happen for a second and say that we want to see it, though? Because you'd want to see it if it didn't happen.
Well, what we can't pretend isn't happening.
Way.
Is national teddy bear to work and school. Bring your teddy bear to work and school day.
I challenged him yesterday. I said every day can't be Taco Tuesday, and he
there you go.
Under today. Thank you, Zach.
There we are.
Exactly.
Anybody have any teddy bears we can use?
I don't.
Nobody's brought any teddy bears to work, unfortunately.
Build-A-Bear has heat right now. Apparently, they've been under the. They've been
not building bears.
They've been closing at all kinds of malls.
Dang.
Oh.
Wow. No bears, just heat.
That's terrible. You can't even customize a teddy bear anymore.
We've got Samia.30 over on Instagram saying, will you guys have a pre-show before Crown Jewel? We won't, but what we will have is a post-show following Crown Jewel. As soon as that finishes, we will be going live to discuss the show on Saturday. But up next, guys, we need to move on because we need to talk about an AEW debut for the artist now known as Lacey Lane, formerly known as Caden Carter in WWE. Somebody who I thought for the longest time has an incredible amount of talent, but was underutilized. And boy, oh boy, did she have a chance last night to show that was the case. She had a fantastic match with Mercedes Moné, and Mercedes Moné Clark has now been the TBS champion for 500 days. 22 successful defenses. I mean, she's like, 10 days away from Jade's reign at this point? She's getting close.
This was an outstanding match. I loved it. Lacey Lane, Caden Carter, formerly known as, just absolutely off the charts honestly almost got me on maybe now's the time. I think she's absolutely catching Jade's reign and absolutely surpassing it. What I think is interesting is once she does, because we're not talking about like an undefeated streak the way that we were with Jade Cargill to separate herself. What I think she actually needs to stop doing is, unfortunately, what Lacey Lane got the opportunity to do last night is make this feel like an open challenge. Be less friendly. I'm not going to wrestle you anymore. If you're going to bring somebody in, have them challenge Mercedes Moné and be like, nope, I'm the CEO. I'm too good for that. Because once she passes the days, let's focus on that. We don't need to focus on how many opponents were beaten thing. We've also got Sami Zayn over on the other side of the WWE right now with an open challenge type format. Yes, I think Mercedes Moné has done enough as far as impressing people by wrestling week in and week out all the time, different styles and everything. But I think it's time to sort of slow that down and really lean into the heelish aspect as we approach the time to finally take that title away away from her.
I honestly don't know about that because I for one, am loving it. I am loving what she's doing, and I at least think it's inevitable that she's going to return to WWE at some point. So I think right now I'm just enjoying her wrestling competitors from all over the world.
I think my issue with it is, honestly, I'm starting to root for her because I'm enjoying it too much is my problem.
But she's always winning.
I know, but I'm starting to root for her to keep it going. And I can't necessarily explain why, but that's just like where my head's been at the last 5 or 6 times I've seen her wrestle. It's like, oh, don't let her lose this time. Don't let her lose this time. Don't let her lose this time. Like, keep it alive because, yeah, something about that, I just think down the road can catch up to it. Other than that, I think everything that Mercedes has done has been absolute gold. And I think the match last night was gold. I just don't want to keep seeing the same story over and over again.
The issue is, though, she's got 9 titles, too, so she has to be wrestling constantly.
Right.
Otherwise, she's just not doing anything with the titles and therefore not really elevating those titles.
She's likely going to have to lose. She's going to have to go on a losing streak, which is the scary.
She will.
That's that.
A 9-match losing streak.
I think that's more where my opinion's coming from on this.
I agree she should stop winning belts, but I do think she's going to go on literally a night. I think she's going to lose the TBS belt and then lose every other one by one in the weeks that follow. She's going to go on the run of her career, more matches in a short amount of time than she's ever done. And they're all going to be bangers, banger after banger, but I think it could well be the end of her in AEW and outside of WWE.
That's where you scared me to death there, though. Is like you said, it's inevitable she's going back to WWE.
I think it is.
Don't let her relinquish all the belts but the TBS one. Don't do that. That would be the most disappointing thing I think I've ever seen. And I don't.
No, she needs to lose them all. She needs to lose
That's
them all.
what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She'll go to 9-match losing streak and then go.
Crazier things have happened, my friend, and that's what scares me about it.
Sure.
If she relinquishes them, the rant that the IWC are going to go on is going to be all the time. I mean, and honestly, I'd probably agree with them too, because at that point, you have just insulted those titles. You've taken them away from the promotions. In most cases, not gone back. Yes, you've shown them on TBS or whatever, but I don't really think that's doing that much. The benefit is you're going to put somebody in that promotion over. So if you don't do that, then suddenly I'm flipping my entire opinion on this entire Mercedes Moné, belt collector thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I've enjoyed it so far, so I'm hoping for the best. That's
what I am too.
Just to your point. Again, I revert back to like if she goes to WWE and relinquishes any titles without losing them, that will be the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in wrestling. Like I can't get over the idea of that possibility. I loved the match last night though. Let's talk about Kaden Carter, Lacey Lane now, like because I hope she's a mainstay. Seriously, on the AEW women's roster, like I think she could do some great work, and I've always thought she was underrated.
But do you know what she needs to do? We need to see Casey Catanzaro or whatever she's called now too. I want to see them in that tournament for the women's tag team championships.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
WWE, it really frustrated me how when they got called up to the main roster, there was finally a tag team, which was an actual tag team in that women's tag team division, and they just didn't utilize them in the slightest at all.
So true.
Right.
Des, I want to get your thoughts on all this, though. What did you think about Lacey Lane's AEW Dynamite debut and also Mercedes Moné winning another match.
I gotta say, this was the first time I actually saw Lacey Lane, aka Kaden Carter, have a singles match. Because most of the time she's been in a tag team. Yeah, like maybe she had an NXT, but I don't really remember it so
she had
much.
someone Raw. She's had someone Raw. Yeah.
Maybe then, I don't know. Honestly, she passes me by. So this was like a nice refresher, basically. And I was pretty impressed. I thought her ring work was pretty good. She did pretty well in Monet. She was a good worker for the most part. And I agree. I would like to see her in AEW. And if they can get Casey Catanzaro or Katana Chance or whatever she's going to be called now, it'd be really interesting to get her in the tag division. Now, I will say this. I have to formally apologize, Mercedes Monet, because I'm going to be honest. I was kind of a critic of her in the past. I thought she was super overrated. Like, I thought she was a great wrestler, but I don't know. People were saying like greatest women's wrestler of all time, top 5. I didn't really buy any of that. Now,
wow,
she's earned my respect, man. The work that she's putting in, she's going to all these different promotions, showcasing these promotions, having all these different styles of matches too. She's earned my respect, man. She is really, really putting the hard work. I'm really, really impressed with her, and I know Shaw's going to love hearing that. But yeah, man, I'm on the train of Mercedes Monet. Like, now, I do want to see her lose eventually, but her matches, they've been pretty good, you know? There's 2 women in wrestling right now who I'm most excited to see. It's Becky Lynch and Mercedes Monet right now, because for me, those are the 2 that are the best in terms of matches.
Oh, ridiculous statement.
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous statement when Io Sky breathes.
Okay, you're right. Not matches. Character. Let me go back.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you're right.
I was about to say, does Io Sky play golf?
Yeah, no. Okay. You know what? I got to do that to me because Io Sky is the best. She's one of my favorites, but I love Becky Lynch's character work. I love Mercedes Monet's character work. Like, they're so insufferable that they're so good at their jobs. I got to commend it.
Absolutely. I've got to agree with you there, Diaz. And Fernando says, it's time Mercedes gets put in the conversation as the best right now in women's wrestling.
Yeah,
undoubtedly.
Course.
She's been in that conversation, and I think, she's going to stay in it for a very long time. There's no denying that. Yeah. But up next, guys, I need to tell you about the content schedule here at Wrestling Republic over the next few days, because today was meant to be the year of AJ Styles, a breakdown that I was doing. That is now actually going to come out next week because, truthfully, I was a little too ambitious. But it will be out next week. But what will be happening tomorrow is a video from me and Des, where we give our top 10 WWE returns of the past 2 decades. We filmed it earlier today. Extremely fun video to make. So make sure to check that out tomorrow. Then on Friday, we have the top 5 takes of the week from here at Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. So check that out as well. And then on Saturday, following Crown Jewel, we will be live for the daily broadcast. And then after that, later on in the day, I will be giving my Allison analysis for the show as well. Up next, guys, we have to talk about this tag team match because it was a double jeopardy tag team match. Okada and Takeshita of the Don Callis family going up against Bandido with a quite simple stipulation. And that stipulation was that if Bandido lost, they'd have to give Okada and Takeshita a tag title shot. But if Bandido won, whichever member would pin whatever member of Okada and Takeshita, they would win a shot at that title. In the end, Bandido's shoulder injury played into it. It was really well done. Takeshita and Okada got the W, and that means that they now have a guaranteed title shot. Des, I want to get your thoughts on this match.
It was a great match. I love the pairing between Okada and Takeshita. I got to say, I'm very excited for the one-on-one match, but I like the build they're doing, right? Even though they won the match, Takeshita was pretty frustrated with Okada, right? Pushing him around, not happy with the way the match is going. And I feel like this is going to be a nice seed that's going to be planted for the eventual turn that's going to happen. And then likely for the Undisputed Championship. Are they going to call it the Undisputed Championship Classic? It's still the Continental Classic?
Continental Classic still.
Okay, so the Continental Classic. So I believe that's going to be one of the matches featured. But yeah, Bandido, what a great tag team, right? Sometimes you feel kind of like makeshift tag teams are kind of hit or miss. This has worked, right? Unfortunately, Buddy Matthews is out with an injury. I hope everything is well. But Bandido and Brody King, they pair pretty well together, right? The crowd loves them. They're a really good tandem, and they have a lot of good chemistry. For them to run it back at Wrestle Dream, it was a pretty solid match. It would have been cool, too, if Brody King and Bandido also had a match for the Undisputed Championship at Wrestle Dream, but I like the idea to go in for the tag team championships. This is fun. I gotta say though, the Don Callis family, man, they're like one of the weirdest factions like I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it's like Oprah, right? You get into the Don Callis family, you get into the Don Callis family, everybody gets in, right? It's just very strange, but yeah, the match was great.
Well, as we found out on Wrestling Public's daily broadcast just the other day, when David made the discovery, they actually invite every person under the sun in the Don Callis family by advertising it on shampoo bottles. So, look, at the end of the day, I watched the daily the other day, but at the end of the day, right, I agree with you, Des. It's kind of, the entire point of it is that it's a big faction, and can they coexist? They're blatantly not going to be able to, and they're all going to turn on each other, and Okada and Takeshita is probably going to be the catalyst for it, as well as Carl Fletcher in some way. But it is weird, but I kind of do think it's working. I don't know, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I have to think about it when I'm saying it, but Clark, what are your thoughts on that? Because it's weirdly working.
First and foremost, how many times have I told you that I hate when this happens? And it's the tag team champions lose to another tag team so that they get a title shot. That is the dumbest, most illogical thing in the world. How many times do I have to say it? Why? You have to beat the man to be the man. They beat the man. They're the man now. Give them the belts. It's over. And then the other way, like if Okada gets pinned, he's got to have a title shot. That's how we tried to like stop it. Have a number one contenders match. What in the world are we doing here? Stop it. And then not only that, Okada and Takeshita, can they coexist? Has been telegraphed before they even started teaming. They aren't buddies. They don't get along. We know it. It's obvious on screen. Yes, of course that's the catalyst for the breakup for the whole family. Of course it is. Are you kidding me? Brody King and Bandito Brodito have been absolutely off of the charts since they've held down the tag division. On the Wrestling Republic podcast, they have won my tag team of the week every dang time, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's really not close. And they've been awesome. The pseudo matching gear and the tandem moves, they're checking all the boxes, guys. And Brody King is showing his versatility. So is Bandito. I'm blown away by this. Okada and Takeshita winning this and not winning the tag titles, then what?
I mean, I agree
now
with you.
You have to follow it. Then what? Now they have to win. They have to be the ones that take it off Brodito. Because if they don't, then this is the dumbest result I've ever seen in a tag match on a Dynamite. It's the silliest one. It makes no sense. If they just turn around and then it's 1-1, what about the rubber match? And the titles never changed hands, and it's goofier than a football bat, and it'll bother me forever. So now, and this is what bothers me even more, and now you got me all fired up, Ben, and this is your fault. And Okada and Takeshita, now they have to win the titles. Then what? Now we have this shallow tag team division again, based on where it's at. We have multiple people that should be, I guess, if we're leading to Luchasaurus and now Jungle Jack Perry because we've dropped the boy, then that is okay, maybe. But it's ridiculous.
Right, to summarize this rant here, I actually agree. Right, these matches are stupid, but they've always been stupid. This isn't anything new. They were doing it on Raw every week a couple of years ago.
I know, and I hated it.
I know. But, like, this was one of those rare ones where, because they're both champions, I actually thought it was a unique stipulation, and they explained it well. And I thought it actually worked for once.
It's closer to working than other ones, but not enough, Ben. Not enough.
Do you know what? Actually, I want to quickly talk about this, because it's not on the topics sheet, right? But, Clark, you're the one who just set me off on it. You just mentioned Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Whoa.
Just Jungle Jack Perry now.
Jungle Jack Perry. Have some
What
respect.
on earth are we doing here with that too? Because he's gone from being basically everything that Jungle Boy Jack Perry wasn't to suddenly basically going back to almost the exact same gimmick. He's basically just ignored the last few years have happened, apart from he's removed the word boy and he's now Jungle Man or whatever. But it's so stupid.
It's just Jungle Jack.
There's been no explanation. None of it.
I'm going to let you in on a little explanation here. I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie Like Mike, but the main character was played by a fellow named Lil Bow Wow. Lil Bow Wow was a child actor and rapper. When he grew to be a certain age, he just became Bow Wow. And then you also have another prime example of that, Young Jeezy. He wrote a song called Soul Survivor with the great artist Akon. He's from the Atlanta area. Young Jeezy grew old, so he became just Jeezy. And then, like, even The Game, West Coast hip hop, he was The Game, and then he grew old and he became just
Where's
Game.
this going?
He became just Game. Jungle Boy Jack Perry has grown too old to be Jungle Boy. He's just Jungle Jack.
Yeah, okay. I don't care about the name. I want the gimmick.
It makes perfect sense.
It doesn't. He's just ignored everything he said, everything he did, and he's just scrapped it.
He got his dinosaur back. Dude,
that can change
your entire attitude, Ben. Have a little bit of respect. He got his dinosaur back. Think about this. If you have cats, if you have a lost cat, imagine now losing your dinosaur. Of course, you're going to have some attitude issues. It's going to change your personality temporarily. You're going to be freaked out. You've completely lost.
He did a pile driver to the CEO of the company.
He did do that.
Yeah, look, of course, man. The guy's in an emotional, washing machine here because he's lost his dinosaur, just as you would be if you lost one of your beloved cats. He's got his dinosaur back. He's got his dinosaur back.
He turned on the dinosaur.
Now, Ben.
He did turn on the dinosaur.
And then he blamed Christian Cage and had to put up with everybody saying Christian Cage was a heel for like 2 years.
And you're telling me people can't learn from their mistakes, Ben. Jeez Louise. Be a little more open-minded.
We didn't see him learn. He just went from one extreme to the other.
Be a little more open-minded, Ben.
If you decided to just sit at home for a year.
You might make some poor decisions if you lost one of your beloved cats. He lost
a bit of the Jungle Book.
Even if he forced
suddenly he's doing this again.
See, you get scratched, you shove the cat away, the cat runs away, you're then upset, and next thing you know, you get the cat back months after the fact, and you're waving again, Ben. It makes it, all the math adds up.
The math ain't madding. PGHGA in the chat saying, it's not the best character development, but I enjoy AEW, so I'm willing to see how it plays out. Listen, I'm torn because I'm excited to see them back as a tag team again because I do enjoy them, but it's so bad how they've gotten you. But up next, guys, we need to talk about this main event, right? Because months and months and months ago, I said Darby Allin is a heel. Why is he a heel? Because the Death Riders were wreaking havoc on All Elite Wrestling. And what did he do? He decided to take his ball and go home and climb a mountain. Right? He ran away like a coward. Massive, massive heel. And last night on Dynamite, once again, he proved why he was a heel. Because we saw Orange Cassidy and Pac go head-to-head, one-on-one, one more time. And Orange Cassidy gave one simple instruction to everybody in the back. And that was stay in the back and don't get involved. Pac then said the same thing to the Death Riders, and believe it or not, for once in their lifetime, the Death Riders were actually honest and followed the rules. We had a clean fight. It was really enjoyable. Pac was wearing a little bit of a strange gear, but I'm sure Clark will get to that. And yeah, I was enjoying it. And at this point, Pac has kicked Orange Cassidy down the steps. And suddenly the camera pans down and Darby Allin has handcuffed his ankle to the guardrail. We don't actually know how he got out of that predicament, but somehow he did. He got back in the ring, but that distraction was just about enough for Orange Cassidy to get the win. But it wasn't clean. He cheated a win and he didn't want to cheat. But Darby Allin once again proving why he is not a babyface, but instead he is a heel. Maybe he should have been the one to take on Hangman Adam Page because they needed heels there. What is your thoughts on all of this, Des?
It was a fun match. I got to say, that tombstone power driver that Pac delivered looked absolutely disgusting. That was a great sell by Cassidy. Yeah, the match was a lot of fun. I like the idea they didn't have the Death Riders there. They didn't have anybody come in backstage, well, except Darby Allin. Now, I have to mention this, right? Darby Allin is the only man that could get cheered for having a Molotov cocktail and threatening to throw it at Jon Moxley. Like, that does not get cheered anywhere else except professional wrestling. That's why professional wrestling is one of the greatest things on earth, right? You had a man burn another man's house, would commit arson, got cheered for it, right? Christian Cage talked about FTR's dead fathers, and the crowd cheered for it. Like, it really is for the sickos. The only place in AEW, all elite murder wrestling, where we can commit felonies and get cheered for it. You just gotta love professional wrestling. Also, Pax attire, yeah, that was very distracting, man. It looked very, very odd, almost kind of like Talatonga, but like a very short version of Talatonga. It was pretty offsetting, I won't deny.
It was almost like Diesel back in the day. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
That's a good comparison. Yeah,
but
it looked like he forgot his real gear. That's
literally
what
it looked like he borrowed someone's gear.
No,
but
like
he
someone was like, "Does this fit?" And he's like, shoot, it does."
Pretty much.
But you actually brought up another issue I had, Des, because that Molotov cocktail stunt, right? Darby Allin almost killed an innocent security guard when he risked his life. That man, by the way, delivered the best wrestling move of the night. The speed he ran and just took down Darby Allin. That dude flew through the air. He saw an opportunity and he was like, I'm saving lives tonight. It was amazing.
It was outstanding. Spot of the match.
What's your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so for me, here's my question back to you, Ben, and I'll keep talking after I ask the question, but is John Wick a heel? Because that's what Darby Allin is right now. He's a broken man that's backs against the wall, and he can't stand what the Death Riders did or what happened with AEW when he was out there doing his thing, climbing Mount Everest. He lost his mentor, Sting, to retirement, even though Sting still got his back and whatnot. Darby is John Wick right now, right? He's the Dark Knight. He's not perfect. His moral compass isn't great, but he's got a mission and he's on it. And Jon Moxley's involved, and so are the Death Riders, and he's not going to allow him to have an inch or anything. He's on a vendetta, and that is something that I do appreciate about this. And the violence of the Molotov cocktail, the violence of having a flamethrower, what it's going to be in I Quit, I fear for both Mox and Darby, but out of morbid curiosity alone. And what Des said about AEW is so spot on, and morbid curiosity alone, I can't wait to see how they handle this, because you got to be conscious to quit. And that scares me to death when it comes to both Moxley and Darby in this match, because I don't know if either one can maintain consciousness as long as this one goes, to put either one in a position to quit the match.
To answer your question, Clark, yes, John Wick is a heel, and I can give you 439 reasons why.
Is that the amount of deaths over one movie, or all three? Or is it four?
All three.
All three.
No,
Dude.
Four.
Guy's efficient. He's
Yes.
You're telling me he's operating on 100 a movie clip? That's pretty dirty.
Well, more than that. In John Wick Chapter 4, he killed 140 people.
Wow.
He's on fire, dude. Talk about a hot streak.
That's a heel.
This guy's
a heel, yeah.
This guy's scoring goals. No, dude.
This dude's up.
Watch the film. He's a hero. He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Well, if you're making 140 kills, that's not... An anti-hero would put them in handcuffs.
They're all bad guys.
Maybe give them a little bit of a punching.
No, they're all bad guys. It's in the future.
Well, did he put them on trial? Did he give them an opportunity to explain themselves? No, just killed them.
He's
with the guilty guy. Let's kill him.
One of them he blew up.
He did.
Maybe that person had like a poor wife at home who needed helping, and they were doing a bit of work for one of these criminals.
When he hits the spinning back elbow and shoots the other guy at the same time, that's one of the sickest ones. I think that's in 2.
That's pretty sick, though. You're not wrong.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's
pretty cool.
That's worth a watch.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, nobody knows what, being a good citizen is these days, and clearly Darby Allin doesn't. But I'll give it to Orange Cassidy, right? Because of all the complaining I've done about him over the years, he stayed true to his word. He didn't know about it, and he got the win over Pac today. So there we are.
Winner.
Get the win. He did it the right way. Darby kind of did it the Darby way.
Well, Darby didn't need to get involved. Get involved after the match, right? Have your little Molotov cocktail party afterwards.
I think he's doing great. I think listen, I think Darby's doing great. I think you are being too harsh on Darby Allin. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right.
I'm not being harsh on him. He's just a heel.
A man of his stature, you have to overcompensate with weapons if you're going to win fights against people like Moxley and Claudio.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't excuse why he had to help an innocent Pac today.
Pac wasn't innocent. Didn't you see the gear? He wasn't innocent. That gear said guilty all over it.
Okay, suddenly Darby Allin's joined Fandango and Tyler Breeze and is the fashion police. Okay, sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's obvious. Ben, obviously, okay. Also, though, no, the real heel is whoever tried to call Pac Neville in WWE.
That is looked a lot cooler as Neville than he did last night.
I don't know. A Molotov cocktail is insane, like genuinely insane, bro.
Bronx Tale is a good movie.
Wait, I'm sorry. You seriously think he looks cooler now than he did in WWE?
Oh, not last night. When he had when he was the bastard Pac, then that was cooler.
That's cool.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that, but it's just I was watching this too and thinking to myself, the amount of steam that he has lost compared to when they first met in 2019 or 2020, early 2020, is absolutely incredible. I mean, he was like one of the best wrestlers in the industry. People were calling him, and now
Kenny was like like a catapult for AEW to start the whole promotion.
For sure.
And now suddenly...
You know what I really do? I still weirdly think it goes back to, number one, Death Triangle being a little bit of a failure, but number two, more importantly, getting stuck over in the UK for that 6-8 months.
Pandemic,
when he was at his hottest during the pandemic. Like he was at his absolute most scorching, and it's not even his fault, I think, in that regard. I think he's still just as talented. You see amazing matches. Death Triangle didn't help, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they were so cool as well. They should have, but it
should have worked, but it just didn't make sense.
No,
the matches were great versus the Elite, though. But yeah,
they were. I was at the ladder match with the Elite, the trios.
Really, that's sick.
I was in LA. Yeah, it was an outstanding match. The main event, and same night they taped the Willow and Ruby Soho, where they dressed as the Dudleys, and you had the
I remember that
power bomb off the side of the stage.
Yeah,
that night was pretty crazy in LA. That was a heck of a AEW taping that I've been to.
That is. I mean, to be fair, they're always fun to go to. I always say that with AEW shows. Like, I don't know if this is the case anymore, but over the last few years, I tend to enjoy WWE pay-per-views more than AEW pay-per-views, but I enjoy going to AEW pay-per-views more than I enjoy going to WWE ones.
That's fair. I think the length of watching one on TV is the only way you can argue that. I still think
that's why I prefer the size. But
I enjoy weekly WWE. I think slightly more, not necessarily of late, but I do enjoy the AEW pay-per-views personally more.
That's the thing. People were saying about this episode, and I am, to be honest with you, in agreement. This was really, really filler in terms of nothing really on this show. I mean, I think all of it was, to be honest with you.
I would say that's a little extreme, but
okay, what wasn't filler?
Oh, I would say the Darby advancing the storyline there, and also
that was so filler. He did nothing they didn't do in the last couple of weeks.
Whoa! I would also add that I think that the Okada and Takeshita earning the title shot is a big deal, and then look at our own topics. I thought I hear where you're coming from. If you disliked Joe, which I believe you do, obviously that's what you said earlier, but that you disliked the Joe promo as much as you did, I thought that advanced the Joe and Hangman storyline enough. It at least gave us something there of substance, and so I was more accepting of that, I think, than you were, and that would be. But I'm also understand if you didn't enjoy that, then yes, I get how you could say all filler.
It just felt like they were on a really hot streak of Dynamites for about 3 months, and now suddenly they've gone into the same place that they were in 2023, where not much thought it's going into the week-to-week product once again.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what's really unfortunate, because they literally came out of that dull period And the worst part is, right now, WWE are in a dull period. So this is when they should be capitalizing, trying to turn
Strike
the
while the
tides
iron's
to
hot.
them.
Right.
Yeah. And they kind of aren't. But that does bring us, guys, to the end of the show today. Thank you for joining me today, Clark and Dez. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk some news in professional wrestling. So make sure to tune in then. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Have a good one. Peace.